So I've got a bit of a dilemma on my hands when it comes to my iPhone, and I want to share exactly what's going on because honestly, it might be one of the most relatable tech decisions we face today. Which iPhone should I buy? You might be in a similar situation or just curious how a tech YouTuber like me is going through this kind of thing in 2025. Either way, this is one of those classic situations where practicality, wants, and budget all clashing, and I need to figure out which one wins. Right now I'm using the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I've had this phone since launch. Well, technically I got it a week after launch, but anyway, I've had this phone since September 2022, and it served me incredibly well. From day one, it's done everything I've needed a phone to do and more. The performance is still fast and responsive, the display is fantastic with ProMotion 120Hz, the camera system still produces top tier shots, and I'm running the latest software iOS 26 beta without a hitch. Well, there are bugs, but that's not the phone's fault, it's beta software. There's really nothing about this phone that feels outdated in terms of daily usability, it's still a flagship experience in 2025. But after nearly 3 years of daily usage, as one might expect, the battery is starting to show its age. Battery health has dropped to 76%, and Apple usually recommends you service your battery once it drops below 80%, so yeah, as one expects, battery life has become a pain. I've adapted by keeping a fast charger nearby and topping it up when needed, but this isn't a sustainable solution. I can't keep relying on little bursts of charge here and there just to get through the day. It's fine for now, but it's definitely not ideal. And I know I just said I'm running the beta, I am completely aware that makes the endurance worse, but it wasn't like the battery life was amazing on iOS 18 either. So I'm at crossroads. I either deal with the battery head on, or I use this opportunity to upgrade. And here's where it gets complicated. Let's start with the most straightforward path, replacing the battery. Apple charges £99 for an official battery replacement. That's a relatively low cost compared to getting a new device, and it would bring my 14 Pro Max back to how it was at launch. The rest of the phone is still excellent. There's really no other huge issue with it, so if I go down this route, I'm looking at extending the life of a device that's still doing everything I need it to do. From a financial and practical standpoint, that does make a lot of sense. I could comfortably keep using this for another year or two, maybe even longer. You know what else would be comfortable for me? If you took a minute to click that subscribe button. It's free and would bring you the latest of Apple right to subscription box, so please consider it. It would be appreciated. Join the Saran Bike gang now. So now you may be saying, oh Saran, it's pretty simple, get a battery replacement then. But guys, there is a catch, a big one, especially for someone like me who's deep into the Apple ecosystem and makes content about this stuff. The catch is Apple Intelligence. The 14 Pro Max does not support Apple Intelligence, and while it's early days for these new features, it's not fully rolled out yet and Smarter Siri has even been delayed, it's clearly going to be a big part of Apple's future. I need to be able to test those features, cover them, experiment with them, and really understand what they offer, and I can't do that on my current phone. So if I want to get involved with Apple Intelligence as soon as it's ready, I'll need a new phone that supports it, and that opens up a whole new set of decisions. The first option I've been thinking about just waiting a couple more months for the iPhone 17 series. We're in July now and the iPhone 17 series will launch in September, so we're very close. If I'm going to buy something brand new, it makes sense to wait and get the latest. Now you might assume I'd go for the 17 Pro Max, especially since I care a lot about battery life and that's where the Pro Max models usually shine. But to be honest with you guys, I'm starting to feel like I don't want to spend over £1,000 on a phone anymore. It's not just about the money, it's also about what I'm actually using day to day. I don't need every pro feature, what I need is solid battery life, a great screen, decent cameras, and the latest software experience. That's why I'm seriously considering the regular iPhone 17. This year is expected to gain 120Hz ProMotion for the first time, which was one of the biggest things that used to separate the base and Pro models. With that change, I wouldn't feel like I'm making a huge compromise going from a Pro Max to a standard device. Yes, I'd lose the telephoto lens, but the 2x crop from the main sensor on the iPhone 17 will do the job for me most of the time. I don't use the telephoto that often anyway. The regular 17 should also bring some camera processing improvements, a lighter body, which would be a nice change from the hefty stainless steel of the 14 Pro Max, and of course Apple Intelligence and the action button, which would be nice to have. I'm also hopeful the battery life will be solid, maybe not as long lasting as the 14 Pro Max when that was brand new, but it'll definitely be usable, especially with the newer chipset and software optimizations. But let's just say I don't want to wait until September, or maybe I just don't want to spend £899, which is what I'm expecting the regular 17 to cost because prices are going up this year. That leads me to the refurbished iPhone market, and honestly there are some very appealing options there right now. The iPhone 15 Pro Max is available refurbished for around £579 on giffgaff. That's a big price difference compared to buying new. For that, I'll be getting the lighter titanium builds, support for Apple Intelligence, a periscope 5x telephoto lens if I want that, and comparable battery life to what the 14 Pro Max used to offer. It's a well-rounded upgrade without breaking the bank. Then there's the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is going for around £829 refurbished. That's more expensive, but you're getting Apple's latest chipset, at least for now, slightly improved thermals, and even better battery life. I'd be future-proof for longer and still would be spending less than I would on a brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max. Another interesting option is the iPhone 16 Plus, which is available for around £609. That one will also give me excellent battery life, the A18 chip and Apple Intelligence, and yes, it does miss out on 120Hz and some of the Pro features, but for that price though, I'm willing to make that compromise, especially if I do get a longer lasting phone and a lighter body. However, refurbished phones come with their own set of concerns, chief among them being battery health. That's one area where you don't have full control unless you pay for a like new device, which is a lot more expensive. Ideally, I want a phone that has at least 95% battery health because I don't want to end up in the same situation I'm already in with my current phone. I could buy a refurbished iPhone and then replace the battery with Apple, but at the same time, if I do that, I'm creeping closer to the price of a brand new iPhone 17, so even the cheap options come with a bit of a catch. And that's where I'm stuck, guys. If I want to keep things simple, the most cost-effective move is to just replace the battery in my 14 Pro Max for £95 and keep using it for another year or two. That solves the immediate problem, keeps my current workflow intact, and delays the need for any big purchase. But if I want to stay on the cutting edge, cover Apple Intelligence as it evolves, and get a taste of the latest tech, then I do need to upgrade. Waiting for the iPhone 17 makes sense if I want the latest device, new features, and a fresh battery, but that means spending more and waiting until September. On the other hand, going the refurbished route with an iPhone 15 Pro Max, 16 Pro Max, or 16 Plus gives me a nice middle ground. Good savings, Apple Intelligence support, newer hardware, but potential battery concerns unless I'm willing to pay extra for a higher grade. Also, I know that waiting till September and then waiting to buy an older refurbished iPhone can benefit me too, because when the 17s launch, the 16 and 15 series should drop in value. And one final thing I want to add, but with gift-gaf's good products, sometimes you can get lucky and get a device that's near 100% battery health. In fact, an iPhone 13 I recently bought for my brother had 91%. So yeah, there is a chance to get very lucky, and a refurbished iPhone I buy has a relatively new battery inside. So what would you do if you were my shoe, guys? Would you just swap the battery and stick with the 14 Pro Max since it does everything so well? Would you wait a few months and get the iPhone 17, taking full advantage of the new features and the fresh start? Or would you go with a refurbished model? Maybe save some cash, get something new with Apple Intelligence support, and live with a few trade-offs? Let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely torn here and I'd love to hear your perspective. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.